The summer before he entered 9th grade, Zach Sobiek went out for a run. Afterwards, he said that his hip was hurting. Doctors originally thought it was just some muscle issue. The reality was much worse.
Zach Sobiek was 14 years old when he was diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer. In 2012, after 4 years of surgeries and treatments, Zach was told he had only months to live. Before Zach lost his battle in 2013, he wrote a farewell song for family and friends called Clouds. It received more than 11 million hits on YouTube and made him an internet sensation. But there's more to his story. In her book, Fly a Little Higher, Zach's mom, Laura, tells how God used her son's life to inspire others. She also shares about Zach's message that we don't have to find out we're dying to start living.
And Zach's mom, Laura Sobiek, is with us now. Laura, thanks so much for being on the 700 Club.
Thank you for having me.
That song is, I went online and listened to it last night. It just really moves your heart. It's been almost a year since Zach went to be in heaven. What do you miss the most about your son?
Oh, I think an easier question would be what don't I miss?
Right.
It's everything. He was just such a peaceful person, yet had so much energy. And he was really, he just brought the spirit into our home that I really miss, but we still feel him.
Yeah. So. Now, when you found out your son did have cancer, he was 14, right?
That's right.
You said when you were standing there in the doctor's office, you felt a peace, a very powerful peace. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I remember just, it was right after we found out that he had a tumor, and we didn't really know what it was yet, but we knew it was bad. And I just remember you have all these things firing off in your head, all these questions and all these what ifs. Yeah. And I just remember having this moment of peace just wash over me, and I had this very vivid image of God's face turned to me.
And you knew in that moment you had a choice to be angry and question this and be upset, or to say, okay, God, this isn't, you're in control here.
Right, yeah, it was very, I knew I was being asked the question, do you trust me?
Yeah.
And that was a big answer to have, to say yes.
Now, during your son's battle, and it was definitely a battle, he went through 10 surgeries, 20 pounds of chemotherapy, and you found out, when you found out he was terminal, Laura, you prayed something. What did you pray?
Yeah, that was a tough time, because it was at this point where I had to decide what to place my hope in. And the two things, do I pray for a physical healing, for that miracle? Do I put all my energy into searching for that and praying for that? Or do I just step back and say, okay, God, you know better, and just allow what was going to happen? And those two seem to be in conflict with each other. And I just had this real vivid image again of Christ, praying in agony right before he died. And it was both prayers. It was, Father, let this cup pass before me, but not my will, yours be done. And so it was a perfect prayer of petition and submission.
Well, let's talk about this song that went viral in the last few months of Zach's life. He played the guitar, and he was encouraged to write some songs to express his feelings. And you found a crumpled up piece of paper in his bedroom floor, and you opened it up, and it was the lyrics to this song that everyone knows now called Clouds. What went through your mind when you first read the lyrics?
Yeah, I knew that, I'd asked him to actually write letters, and he'd tried, but he'd struggled with it. And so I just kind of backed off. So when I opened up these lyrics, it was heartbreaking, yet joyful. Yeah. And I was just so, pleased to know that he was able to express himself in that way.
And when Zach recorded Clouds, and you described it as one of those moments when everybody came together for a higher purpose bigger than themselves. What happened? It was kind of a miracle. It was one of those days you said you'll never forget.
Yeah, I think that was just part of the whole experience, was all these people in places in life where they could make this thing into what it was. All of them said yes, and that's the part of the story that I really love too, and that I wanted to share in the book was, people in the music industry, seasoned people coming together and say, we hear this, our hearts hear this, and this is what we can do to help. But none of us ever dreamed that it would become what it's become.
So tell us about this day we're watching right there with the video. If we could see some of that again, that was a very special day. I mean, and Zach, I mean, he's not like a seasoned professional singer,
Right.
but
Yeah.
that's the song that went out viral that everybody listened to. How many people?
Oh gosh, I think there were 5 musicians and Zach, and then the guy mixing it, the
What was
studio
it like
owner.
that day in the studio?
It was incredible. All of us knew. These are professional musicians that came into the studio, and they all collaborated right there on how to do this song, and it just came together. I remember at the end of the day, I asked the studio owner, Carl, is this how it always goes? And he goes, no, no, not at all. Something like this usually takes weeks, and it took 6 hours.
So Laura, it hit number 2. His song hit number 1 2 days after his death. And what kind of reaction have you gotten from people all over the world who have heard this song, Clouds?
That's the incredible thing, and that's the really unexpected thing. It's powerful. People are reaching out to us because they have this need to tell us this song has changed their lives. And that's a big statement to make, but that's what we're hearing.
Well, it's been almost 1 year since Zach passed away. It was last June. Does it get any easier?
Oh, that's a hard question. I think you kind of move through grief in cycles.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just slams you and you're not expecting it. So I don't know that it gets easier. It gets different, but maybe not easier.
So you have maybe like a good week, and then you go back into really remembering, and especially this time of year.
This time of year is tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His last few days were really, his last few hours were tough, but you said he decided not to take any pain meds.
He was adamant about that.
Yeah.
He was on pain medications, but he wasn't on the medications that would have helped him with the breathing.
Yeah.
And because he wanted to be alert, and he was.
Well, it's a pleasure meeting you, and to find out more about Zach's life and legacy, you can get Laura's book. It's called Fly a Little Higher, and it's available in stores nationwide. The song Clouds is also available for download on iTunes, and the proceeds from that go to the Children's Cancer Research Fund. Laura, thanks so much for sharing your story. God bless you.
Thank you so much for having me.